Well, hello and welcome to Fringe History. This is our first episode, number 10 on the list of worst modern design lies told by resellers in the resale market today. This channel is called Fringe History because we'll explore the fringes, the outer fringes of history, the stories that you can't find on Google easily, the stories that no one really has taken the time to tell yet. And we won't always do design. I will cover a wide range of subjects. I have a wide variety of random weird things that I've gotten very knowledgeable about. So, moving on to our misattribution, number 10, Lou Hodges and the oak and glass tables. If we search Lou Hodges on Google, we come up with a whole bunch of sales listings. If we go to images, we see all these pictures. About 70% of them, it seems like, are these like kind of oak and glass tables that kind of curve around and have a floating shelf in the middle. Well, I'm here to tell you this attribution is a total lie, completely made up and perpetuated by Google and greedy sellers for years. It seems to only be getting worse. So let's dig in. Louis Lou Hodges III was born in 1937 in Washington, D.C., died unexpectedly due to complications from post-surgery in 2003. In his childhood, Lou worked on a farm and raced horses and loved cars. Lou would go on to attend the Art Center School of Design in Los Angeles. Lou's design career began with General Motors, where in 1960 he was part of the design team for Corvettes. Lou would later work for Elva Car Company in England and would race Elva cars on the SCCA scene. Lou was what you would call a serial entrepreneur. Starting in the early 1970s, Lou would found a series of design-related businesses, selling each one after less than 10 years. His first venture was Design Direction. Design Direction appears to have been an interior design and furniture store. It's not apparent that they made or designed any furniture directly. Although it's possible. This business was sold in the late 70s, and he started a company called California Design Group, which included his own line of furniture designs and manufacturing, but also a subsidiary company called California Design Center, which were furniture showrooms that sold his products along with other modern furniture products. By 1982, both of these businesses had been sold to separate entities, and Lou started yet another company, California Craftsman. California Craftsman specialized in high-quality office and commercial furniture. In 1985, California Craftsman was sold. Apparently, California Craftsman sputtered without Lou at the helm, and in 1989, King's Office Furniture, the biggest customer of California Craftsman, offered to purchase the company, only if Lou would agree to return. By 1996, Lou moved to Utah, where he continued to do woodworking, design, and car restoration. So, that pretty much sums up Lou's life in a nutshell. And as I've talked, you've seen a lot of Lou's designs come across your screen, a lot of documented designs that Lou Hodges did. But none of them were this table in question, this kind of oak, curvy table. So there's some red flags after I look through these actual Lou Hodges designs that instantly make me skeptical of this table. And one is that Lou didn't really use glass. It didn't seem like on just about anything. Almost everything he made was almost pure wood, with maybe the hardware being metal or something. But even that, it seemed like he tried to build poles and things into his drawers, and it was pure wood. The other thing that you should be worried about with this always is when there's one single design for a person this overwhelming. It just seems like, I mean, if they really sold that many tables and that little of everything else that you see out there for Lou Hodges, then they were pretty much just making these tables all day and all night. This could end up being just one of those, another thing I noticed with those tables, with the table in question, is every side of it. If you look at the edges, they're rounded pieces of wood that are rounded around, and it's all just very like rounded. And if you look at Lou's designs, while they do have that kind of wrap-around look, they're usually a little more squared off than this is. This is all just curvy. And Lou kind of liked to block things off a bit and have a bit of squareness to his designs. So this could end up being one of those like arguments where dealers and overly optimistic estate sale companies and people who have inherited these tables or found them at a thrift store, that they want to say, well, look, it clearly looks similar, and you can't prove it's not Lou Hodges. So everybody else is saying it. All these dealers, all these reputable people are saying it. The problem is that we know exactly who did this table. It's well documented. It was made by a company called Mersman, and the line was called Bel Air, and these tables were made in the early 1980s, 1981 to 83. You see a bunch of ads for them. They're all roughly the same, so I'm not going to post all the different ads, but there are ads in a lot of papers and things for these tables. And there's absolutely no proof that Lou Hodges designed anything even close. And with all of these that I go through, I would be happy to be proved wrong. I will make a separate video showing how I was proved wrong. Also, if you have anything that you would like to add to these stories or these topics, if you have good pictures that I don't post on here, that I don't have, feel free to contact me. I'll try to add them in there, or at least call you out later. So one of the questions I know that will come up after this is, well, maybe Lou Hodges designed these tables for Mersman. That is, I guess I can't say without a doubt 100% that never happened. But I can say it like 99.99%. We have Lou Hodges' obituary that's out there. There's also an article that goes into a lot of detail about his career, and that's where I got a lot of this information. In the 1990s, there was an article that says, basically all the pit stops he made along his career, and none of them mention that he designed any tables for Mersman. And this came up actually today on the Mid-Century Modern Reddit group. Somebody said, well, a dealer near me calls these Lou Hodges style. Now, I kind of hate using the term style for something like this. When you say in the style of, in my mind, I think Mersman came in, the lead designer for Mersman came into his room with his little design peons, and he said, Lou Hodges is killing us with these oak tables, curvy, whatever, like this. I want you to make something that looks, that people are going to look at and say, oh, that looks like a Lou Hodges. Man, I'm telling you, Lou Hodges, this guy was, while some of his designs are very nice, this was an obscure, small furniture designer that didn't even design furniture for most of his life, that did stuff with cars as much or more than he did with furniture. And to think that Mersman, a low-end, high-volume manufacturer of furniture, was like, oh, there's this random guy in California making furniture that sells above our price point and 1/100th of the output that we do, or even less. We should copy him. It just seems so bizarre to even think about. This isn't Eames or Saarinen or some famous designer that everybody knew about. In fact, if not for these tables, I feel like Lou Hodges would largely be forgotten. He's most immortalized right now by this false attribution of these tables that he didn't do. So I'm here trying to set the record straight. And I'm sorry if you bought these tables, paid more thinking they were Lou Hodges, but they're just not. And if you want to believe the dealer that sold them to you, that's your prerogative. I suggest you go back and ask him to provide proof of who designed these, and you come back and give it to me, and I'll be happy to correct myself on here. But as of yet, nobody has came forward with any kind of documentation that Lou had anything to do with these, and I've came forward numerous times in these discussions online with documentation on Lou himself, documentation that these are Mersman. I don't know what more I can do to prove a negative, to prove a negative other than that. So this one wraps up really cleanly, unlike some that we'll go through later where we don't, as of yet, know the exact designer, the exact manufacturer of the item. There'll be a few of those in this list. But I think this one wraps up cleanly. It's 100% solved. All of these tables that you see, even if I saw a few that have a little bit of variation, those are Mersman too, or some other, possibly some other low-end designer that copied Mersman somehow. I don't know if that's possible. I just think they're all Mersman. It would be my guess that all these like curvy, floating middle, oak and glass, console, side, coffee, whatever, all of these tables are just Mersman. They're not Lou Hodges. So thanks for watching and listening. Have a good day.